Hello there, I'm Robert McKay. This is Whiskey for Beginners. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you can see that I'm trying a different thoroughly amateur setup because, as the title cards make clear, this is a thoroughly amateur production. And as all these videos have turned out to be me answering questions that I ask, today's question is there any whiskey I would not buy again? And there is some, and not a whole lot, and my memory for it is not very expansive, great, large, whatever, pick your synonym. But there are some. And what comes to mind first of all is Dewar's White Label Scottish whiskey. Even Scottish law calls it Scotch because that's what everybody calls it. But the Scots themselves just call it whiskey. And so that I tend to call it Scottish whiskey. Excuse me. But I wouldn't drink that stuff again. I found it undrinkable. And until I started talking, my voice was fine. And now there's a frog stuck in there. I apologize. It was just sour and nasty, and I couldn't drink it. The Rebel 80 proof, I would not buy again. I can't remember it in detail. I just know that I didn't finish the bottle. I chucked it, and it took me a long time to nerve myself to try the Rebel 100 proof, which is good whiskey, a nice wheated bourbon. But that 80 proof was awful. I think this was the first whiskey I ever had that I could not drink at all. A Longhorn Texas corn whiskey. And I really wanted, and I still do, but at the beginning I really wanted to try corn whiskey because I had found that some of my ancestors on my daddy's side had lived in western North Carolina and eastern Kentucky, right up in the hills where people made corn liquor. And I still would like to try some, but people who make it and sell it for obvious reasons are not walking around advertising. So I wouldn't know where to find any if I had to. But I went and I got me a bottle of that Longhorn corn whiskey, and it was just awful. It was so sour. And I found that sourness can and seems to be a characteristic of corn whiskey. Of all the corn whiskeys I've had, but one have a sourness to them. But this was just so awfully sour. Let's see, what else? Nothing else is coming to mind. It seems like there are a couple of things here and there that I've tried and couldn't stand and therefore wouldn't buy. But my mind focuses on what I like, what I would buy again, and so I'm coming up blank on further examples. But if you drink enough whiskey, you're going to find things you don't like at all, things you just can't stand, things you will never buy again. That's the nature of the beast. And what you might like things I hate, you might hate things I like. Everybody's palate is different. The best whiskey for you to drink is the whiskey you like. And if you don't like it, you should not drink it. And so that's the end of this video. And with my imaginary glass in hand, I'm going to use one of the two Gaelic words I know and wish you sláinte.